Hello and welcome to my exhibition at the Kunstraum am Schauplatz. We are now in hard lockdown, and that means I'm going to show you the exhibition with video. Slowly and steady we move from one work to another work. This is the first work that I'm going to show you. It is a work by Alfred Kubin. In this work he drew a caricature of two people talking everyday politics on the street of Wernstein. That was the village where he lived in his later years and where he met my family. And that's why I inherited one print, my mother inherited two, my uncle inherited one, and so on. Because if you have the local supermarket, Kreisler as they called it back then, sometimes an artist comes to you and says, I don't have anything to pay for, but I have a print. And so we've got a lot of prints of Mr. Kubin. And so this is one of the prints where he made fun of village life in rural Austria. And because I became an artist, so to speak, because of Mr. Kubin, I decided to hang one of my pieces next to his in a similar fashion as the man with the stick is holding his stick and pointing his finger. I thought I'm going to point one of my wish-fulfilling machines next to it. And the wish-fulfilling machine is a project of mine. It's a project all about counter-epistemology, meaning you can use these objects to make a wish, but in order to enable you to make a wish, you would have to enact 5 times the energy to give it a loading, meaning like our iPhones and the like. You have to put them into an energy source. And the energy source in this regard, in this object, is things like rituals, like you have to do a public performance. Stand on your tongue for 5 hours while you rotate to the music of Beethoven. And then you can make a wish that you will get a Beethoven album for free. You know, completely senseless. You rather buy the album yourself. So the next object is also one of these mystical wish-fulfilling machines. And I was deeply inspired by the ancestral aesthetics, but the aesthetics of my ethnic group, the Transylvanian people. And since we are a marginalized group and slowly culture is dying out, I thought I'll interested in what we did, and we used to paint on ceramics, funny ornaments, and I'm of the opinion that ornaments and therefore maximalism is something that we maybe could engage again in art, especially if we read the Austrian architect Adolf Loos, who wrote an atrociously racist text against the ornament, so to say a proto-minimalist statement, where he writes that every culture that ever was anything somehow forgot to use ornaments, and ornaments are evil and this and that. It's a completely counter-epistemic text. You can basically forget that it ever existed, but the problem is Loos is there to stay. There's still a lot of people with rounder eyes than I am and lighter skin than I am really like to read Loos to their students. So that's where we are still. So, and And even if Lowe's never wrote that text, I would still be doing ornaments. I would still be doing graphical works that derive from city planning, from mechanical ornamentation, so to speak, from plans, landscapes, abstract depictions of a reality that we might not be able to see if we had not mastered abstraction and mathematics like we had done in the Arab world before the Europeans had to translate those texts to European languages. Therefore, the Enlightenment. So this is a recent painting of mine. I was offered to do a work of illustrations for a book of an author that I really like and whose work is very dear to me. And normally, until that point, I made only monochromatic works, and the person said, I really need color, and that's when I said, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. So this is one of the first test images that I actually liked, of which I thought this is to my liking. And one further information, I only hang works in my own exhibitions, solo or group, that I personally would hang in my home, that I would want to collect, that I would want to have in my collection, and that I would buy if somebody else than me would have done it. And here we again with this painting that I've previously showed you, but I didn't describe anything. This is actually one of the first paintings I ever did. One of the first paintings I ever did in my whole life. And I did this painting when I was still, I think I was 20 years younger than now. I was nearly not existent in this world, but this is one of the first things that I ever did that I could still consider art. I mean, you did a lot of shit. Probably a lot of people, built sand houses and stuff like that as kids, but you would not normally consider everything that we ever did as art. And behind me, we have an object from a new series, and it's a selfie-able work, meaning that if somebody in the very exhibition that we are right now records themselves behind this object, they will be able to win a prize. Now you might ask, what is the prize? What can you win? And this question already brings us to the next objects. It's a series of objects that is the starting point for the next room and the end point for this room. It's a series of hexagonal works, incomplete hexagonal works, and complete hexagonal works. I'll call it the hexagonal plane, and this is the work. This is the work. For each semi-hexagonal, I had to paint for 2 days. They might seem small, but my God, I put a lot of effort and drawing restraint into them. It takes quite a long time to paint them. And what do they depict? Is there a story behind them? Yes, I now put them back together in a different way. I've created a world called the hexagonal plane. And it's a fictional plane. I'm not in the mood of thinking about alternate planes that don't exist. It's a different plane than ours. It's a completely different world. Think of a fantasy world. Think of Tolkien without racism, That's it. There is a lot of racism, but it's not like instilled in the whole project. It's a work that I'm going to work on for the next years. Let's close this door. So I have now created this other world, a world to stage problems that we see in our real world, like racism, the problems of globalism, euthanasia, and every exhibition that I will do from now on, and every work that I will do from now on, will be about this world. Will about this world that I will use as a staging device to talk about things that I normally not be able to talk about because they are much too near to my personal experience. I don't want to make works about the racism I had to endure because of my eyes, because of the color of my skin, because of the way my head is formed, because of anti-Semitism and all of that. I don't want to deal with works like that. I want to go in my own world. I want to see something that is uniquely mine. And I don't think that I personally am good at making another solo show about euthanasia. I did that, I won a prize, I know, but this is a new start, it's a new beginning. So what is this world about? The world is, think of a complete fantasy world. There are no humans, there is no Earth. Think fantasy, science fiction even. So this world was separate, there were separate spheres that did not interact with each other. And at some point, the people found the hexagonal plane. They found a possibility to travel to another world, like the Christian limbus, like another plane, like hell, like heaven. It's completely different. Nobody knows how it's related to the physics of this world. And here we have a depiction of a travel depiction of the hexagonal plane, floating in space, incomplete, completely incomplete. It would be much bigger in reality, but that's what the people who use this part of the hexagonal plane know and have to use. And yes, the hexagonal plane is incomplete for travelers, and it has to be completed by the traveler themselves in order to move from one place to another. Otherwise, they would never appear again. So this is the magic of the hexagonal plane. You come in from one place, you move through, you complete it with energy that you take from your own plane, that never leaves the hexagonal plane, and then you are able to leave by finding another exit. Now, when the people in that world originally found the hexagonal plane, they started to make maps. Normally, any map that is first created or something is faulty. So here we have two of the maps that are completely faulty. You could even say these maps are fake news, made by people who only were interested in finishing their assignment and not to bring value to their customers. They sold these maps. And what is seen here is not there in reality. They just drew it by conjecture. They thought, might be possibly there. I won't be wrong. I think it's true. I don't care. Let's finish this and start another map. I can make 5 maps in a day. So this is how you come up with maps like these that are completely wrong. Yes, maybe 1 or 2 dots are true. They look like maps. They look as if they're possible, but they are impossible. They are therefore dangerous maps. Along comes a new reign of cartographers and map makers who might not know the plane so well, might have even only traveled once or twice to that plane. And they make maps like that. Maps that are still wrong, but maybe one map is only 30% wrong, another map is only 70 or 60% wrong. And then you come to a place where you don't know, is this map usable or is it as dangerous as another map? What we know is that these maps are similar to maps that we have from 1200, 800, whatever the humans used to create. And then we have monsters drawn into the map, eating part of the hexagonal plane, stuff that might exist, might not exist. But it's still a lot of mysticism and a lot of magic is included here. You have exploding objects inside of that thing, and you have falling down paintings in the exhibition. Oh my God, this is a dangerous exhibition. No, I'm just a stupid curator. Yes, let's keep it like that. And this is the last one of the false maps. And then, after a time, as it's always, there along comes a possible projection, an abstraction way that you could use to find your way. And this is this map. It's very detailed, and it follows a course, and you can find yourself in it. But the deep problem is that some of the power players in the worlds that need the map to travel from one world to another did not like that people could freely use the hexagonal plane. So they outlawed the hexagonal technology and said you're now only able to travel from A to B if you have access to one of these objects. An object called a travel pedestal, maybe. Every culture uses a different name to name these objects. But what they are bureaucratic ways to instill less possibility into the people, less possibility to travel. And the agency that forbids that is this agency, and that's its logo, the smiling white six-eyed rabbit. They smile, but their smile is fake. It's a fake smile. It's a smile of vileness and dark psychology and dark pedagogy. That's what they are. Here we have them again, gleefully evil, lingering against the humans, or not the humans, the very beings that they want to subvert. So this has been a very short or long, depending on your view, run through my exhibition. There are other objects as well. So if you want to see more of the objects or have a further explanation, you could always write to me, or you can just see one of my other videos, be it YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, or whatever. I am on all platforms, or ever watching. So thanks for watching. I'm really happy. If you like this exhibition, give me a like, give me a subscribe if you liked it even more. And if you didn't like it, that's sad, but that's life. Goodbye.